this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I do these complex cables to make these beautiful cable structures on my single bed knit machine. Start by casting on we'll do 20 stitches each side. Now you'll take your transfer tool and pull out your sections. So you have to decide how many stitches you want each of these cables to be. I think for this one, I think I'll also do 3. I was debating if I wanted to do 2 or 3, but this one was done with 3 stitches. Wait, this one was done with 3 stitches. This one was done with 2. Just a little bit more delicate when you only do 2. I'm going to want to transfer the stitch on the left and the right side of these 3 stitches in the middle. So this will be my one start to the cable here on the left. I will do the same here on the right, 2 stitch edge stitch there. And here we'll have 3. There's the one to the other side of it. Now I'm going to do the same to the other side. All right, so now you should have 2 stitches on either side, just as an edge stitch. Then you'll have an empty needle, 3 needles, an empty needle, same on the other side. And then in the middle here, you will have 3 empty needles on either side. Do 1 pass of the machine, and this will set up each of the individual cables. Now you will get your 3-prong transfer tool and begin moving each of these in by 1 stitch. So you will move this one over. So now the empty needle has moved over 1. You will also move these 3 needles over 1. And you can pick up the stitch here. Here we are going to move these to the right. So I'm going to start by moving the empty stitch one to the right, moving these 3 stitches to the right, picking up this stitch in the middle. Same for this one, move towards the left, and here, instead of picking up this stitch, I'm just going to push the needle out, because if I have these 2 stitches over, for whatever reason, the machine will only knit it as 1 stitch. But if you have it out without something over it, it will knit a new stitch. All right, last one. Now that everything is moved, if you want a little extra security, if you're using a particularly chunky yarn, you might want to push out all of the needles or the needles that have multiple stitches on them. All right, and we still have that same pattern of 1 stitch out, 3 in, 1 stitch out, 1 stitch out, 3 in, 1 stitch out, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1. We will knit another row. So now here you can either choose how many rows you want to knit in between each transfer, and that will determine how steep of an angle your cables will decrease at. I think I'm gonna do 2 rows, just so then the carriage is always on my right hand side. It'll be easy for me to keep track of it that way. So you will continue with this pattern of moving these 2 sections of 3 cables towards these middle stitches. Okay, so we've transferred over all of our stitches. I have 2 stitches on each of these needles, and you can see the stitches are starting to angle in. I'm gonna knit 2 more rows. Once more. I find it easiest to do all of the single pronged increases first, and then flip my tool over and do all of the 3. Oh, beautiful. Now that we've come to having 2 stitches in between each of the legs of the cable, you will move 1 stitch over like you normally do and leave it at that. You'll move your 3 stitches to the right like you normally do, with 1 on either side, and then with the right leg, with the left leg, you will move it over, and instead you will just have 4 stitches in a row. Move this one the wrong direction. Oops. I just realized I only knit 1 row last time, so I think this time I'm gonna knit 3 rows. It's okay, mistakes happen. Okay, well, it'll be a little funky, but that's what samples are for. You can see our legs have come closer together. We are going to move them over 1 here, and then the leg that had 4, we are going to overlap with that middle stitch. And now we should have 6 stitches right next to each other. Beautiful. 2 rows. Okay, now we can get to the fun part. Grab your second transfer tool and you can do a little cable. Now you can choose if you want to go outwards or inwards. Let's take a look. So it just depends on if you want the middle 2 legs to be on top or if you want the outer 2 legs to be on top. Just depends. So I will move the outer 2 first. So what that looks like is you will put each of the legs on your transfer tool, and whichever one you want to be on top, to be in front, has to go down first. So if I want the outside leg to go first, I will move the right hand first. After I do those crosses, I will push out all 6 of the cabled needles and a couple of the ones on the side. You can see that my needles are a little bit close here, so I will push them back. And you can see that gives them just a little bit of extra room, so they're not going to hit each other, but they will still knit properly because the latch hook is in front of the yarn. All right, now same with this side. I will put each side of the cable leg on my transfer tool, and because I want the outside cable to be first, I will place that one down first. And then I will place this other side. Beautiful. Again, push the needles out so they are past the yarn, but push them back so they're not so close to each other. You're going to keep moving the legs of the cables outwards. I will always start by moving the inner leg cables towards each other. These legs will go back out to the right. At this point where I will have 2 back in the center here, I will pick one of the legs up just so it will knit both stitches. at the point where we only have 2 stitches left now in the middle, which means we are going to just keep transferring them, same as we did where we did the cable on the left and the right, we are going to do in the middle. We will have just 4 stitches in a row. Four stitches in a row, 1 empty, 3, 1 empty. Now we are going to move all 6 of our stitches next to each other. Now that we have 6 stitches in the middle, we can do our cable here. I will usually do my right hand first just because I think it's a little bit easier. And I will push out the needles of my cable, push them back in a little so they're not so close. Now that is the entire repeat from start to finish. To repeat this, you will just continue to move the 6 stitches on out again. So here's the final swatch. I did 2 repeats here, so you can see the final effect. You get this nice cross in the center with these 2 on the side. I also want to show just 2 other sweaters that I made with this same technique. This one is made with a 3x3 cable where it crosses in the middle, and I brought them apart to have 6 stitches. Once I had those 6 stitches, I did another 3x3 cable in the middle there. I really love the way that this one turned out with the natural picot holes at the top there. You can see it's got like this airy texture. Same in this sweater that I made. This one is that same technique that I did in that video. And this just shows you how it'll look fully repeated up the sweater. Again, you get these nice airy picot holes on the side of the cables, but the actual cable structure is pretty solid. That is my tutorial on how to do complex cables on a domestic single bed knit machine. Please like and subscribe if this tutorial was helpful, and let me know what other machine knit tutorials you'd want to see.